Haberdasherdo.
Hi, this is sewing Bee Unpicked with Jane for Haberdasherdo, in Bournemouth, in sunny Bournemouth today as well. So we're on episode 2 of 2023 Sewing Bee. It was travel week, so they had to make a rucksack, and I'm not even going to go into the transformation challenge, and swimwear. Not an easy week. Definitely. So rucksacks, they had to pick the correct fabric or a suitable fabric. It was lined as well, so you wanted a strong outer, and then linings can be a lot thinner, and you can make your linings as funky or as plain as you like. They had lots of straps to deal with, and obviously with rucksacks you're sewing the strap into the seam, so you've got to make sure you're getting the strap the right way round and then putting the clips on the right way round and stitching those the right way, and that's where quite a few of them came unstuck, because they turned the strap the wrong way, so that the raw edge was showing on the outside. Top stitching they mentioned as well, so those who chose to do top stitching, it needs to be really perfect, really neat, and when you've got time constraints, that's sometimes not the best option to follow, but it does look really smart if you can get it right. So it was a rolled top rucksack, and it had 2 adjustable straps, so you had to put the adjusters on as well, a front pocket with a zip. So how they did the zip was the conventional way of how you put it in a side seam. There are other ways of doing it as well. We've done different ways on our bag workshops here. So let me think. A lot of them chose denims and sort of medium weight canvases. I think we saw 3 or 4 of them who'd chosen a denim. Julie chose she was prompted to say and given every opportunity to change her bag fabric, but she stuck with it because she liked the outer, and it did look really nice, but it would have been better if that was the lining, and the one she chose the lining was the outer. But I know what she was trying to do. She thought if the lining was strong, then it would be okay, but Patrick didn't like it. But there were other reasons why she didn't do so well, because she didn't get very far with it. So let me think. Quite a few of them had the straps the wrong way round. Some of them had a couple of holes in the seams where they hadn't finished them off properly. But on the whole, they were pretty good. Some of them just weren't finished because they just literally chucked the lining at the last minute. The lining didn't have any pockets or anything, so it was quite a quick lining to do. So fabric wise, we've done a couple of bag workshops here. We've done it in the velvets. I turned around then, but I can see they're not on camera. I could lift one out. So we have, these are an upholstery weight velvet. We've got them in different patterns. This is a particularly funky one. We've made big bags, small bags, all sorts out of this. It's a very dense velvet, so it's quite strong, and we've lined it with a polycotton. So other bag fabrics. So the joy of doing lining, you can do a really funky lining. We've got cotton poplins, cotton lawns, batiks. So this is a batik. This is actually quite a sturdy cotton. It's a bit stronger than a cotton poplin, sort of somewhere between a craft cotton and a cotton poplin, I'd say. So you could make a lightweight rucksack out of it, but they specifically said it was designed to carry heavy things, so that's why they wanted you to pick a stronger fabric. So best to do a stronger fabric on the outside and a lighter weight lining. So you can have camos like Tony's, and he linked his camo with some plain, which was a really neat idea. I think he'd done a bit of bag making before, so he had a bit of experience in that department. This looks great made up as a bag. It's a sort of a Bauhaus inspired fabric. That's a medium to heavyweight cotton. Also some of the soft furnishing fabrics. My friend has made a bag out of this. It's like a tapestry fabric. It's quite thick, so really, really sturdy. That looks lovely, made up as a bag. And we've got a few different designs of that. The matte fabric, I have actually made this up in a bag, and a woman convinced me to sell it to her because it was in the window, and I'm really sad that I did. But that looks really good made up as a bag and fits the travel brief all in one. Right, so one of our most popular fabrics is Jacob's coat, I think it's called. We keep calling it Jacob's Creek, but so it comes in two different colourways. This is the sort of blues and lilacs, and there's also a sort of ochre and turquoise colourway. This is one that I've made up already, so that makes a really nice big beach bag, travel bag, whatever you want to call it. The other thing, I don't think anybody made any out of corduroy. I've got plain corduroys as well, and jumbo cords. I've made my daughter a couple of bags out of jumbo cords because I think Urban Outfitters had a bag. It was about 40-50 quid just for a lined corduroy bag. So there's that one. I have made that up into a bag. This funky little number doesn't really go with my dress. So this has got, it's what I call a letterbox zip. So slightly different to the one that they did on the Sewing Bee. So I put one there, and this one's also got one in the lining as well. So maybe we'll do a little workshop on making that bag. That is a free pattern download as well. I'll try and get the link and put it on my website. And this is another designer bag. We did a workshop on this during lockdown, actually. I did it over Zoom. It's not the easiest way to deliver a workshop. This is a little bit old now, as I can see. This has got a bit worn on the strap. That is from a online pattern called Noodlehead, and she does a lot of bag patterns, really funky bag patterns. Right, the other thing I said was denim. So I think we only saw blue denim, but of course there are other colours. So this is a black heavyweight denim, which you could team with any kind of funky lining or plain lining if you don't want to do that. So pattern wise, McCall's haven't got many bag patterns, and I couldn't find a rucksack pattern, but they have got some nice bag patterns. So there was 8334 there. It's a kind of a tote bag, but also they've got a couple of bags with sort of liners on the bottom like that. 8375, so a very casual beach style bag. This is like a messenger bag one. 8298. There's two different styles of bag, and it's also for the clothing that's featured on here, so you get quite a lot in that pattern. Going off piste a bit, 8297, like little lunch bags and wine coolers. And 8307, more sort of structured tote bag styly. And then 7265, this would be a great sort of sewing and craft bag, and I think that's what they've suggested it is with the scissors that they've got in there. And the last one I have is 5822. Okay, and that's got the strap feature which you stitch onto the outside of the bag. So that was the bag, the rucksack challenge. Oh, Noodlehead and also Spencer Ogg do a lot of online patterns for bags if you're looking for something a bit different. Also for bags, you can upcycle old jeans into any number of bags. Jeans, when you unpick the crotch seam, there's quite a wide expanse of fabric in there, especially if you've got an arse the size of mine. Anyway, this is just a little bag I made out of a jeans pocket. So I cut around the outside of the pocket. This is a men's jeans pocket because their pockets are bigger than ladies' jeans pockets. Just cut around the outside, sewed them together to get a seam, and then I did a blanket stitch, and then I did a couple of lines of double crochet, apologies to those who don't crochet, around the outside, and I made the handle out of that as well. And then these little stars are just little crocheted stars, but you can stick on embellishments, or you could embroider, or you could just leave it plain. It's up to you. So that's my little summer bag on holiday. I'll put my phone and my purse in there, and it's the perfect size. So the transformation challenge was to convert a windbreak into a structured waterproof garment. I'm not even going to go there because who makes anything out of a windbreak? It must have been a nightmare to sew because it's really thick, crinkly, horrible material. No one's going to wear that unless you're on a desert island and you're absolutely strapped for what you can do with anything. Not that you'd have a sewing machine anyway. Anyway, moving on. So the next challenge was a swimsuit, which I have never attempted, and I don't stock lycra, so I can't really sort of speak from experience on this one. All I know is it's not going to be the easiest fabric to sew, and like I think one of the contestants said, because the fabric stretches, because otherwise you'd have a baggy swimsuit. Nobody wants a baggy swimsuit. The pattern pieces are smaller than the finished size of the swimsuit because you've got to allow for stretch, so it's quite difficult getting a good fit. So there were a few misfits, but I think they did a pretty good job because it's not easy stuff to sew, because you need to use a ballpoint needle, you need to use a stretch stitch, you're going to be putting in elastic around the legs, probably if you're doing pants, a bikini, across the back here, in the straps. It's quite a bit of tricky detailing to do. Not to mention, I mean, it has top stitching as well, so probably maybe a double pointed needle to do any nice top stitching edges. So they were supposed to have a complex element. I didn't really understand what that was because I think they all interpreted that a bit differently. Julie interpreted it as putting a binding around the neck, but that was her undoing. Others did it as, you know, having contrast panels inserted, which is going to be a bit trickier. And others was about the shape. So, you know. Anyway, I think they all followed the brief and produced swimwear of some description. Some were better than others. They mentioned in a couple of places that the crotch was too nice. You get that kind of gathered Mrs. Overall effect. If you remember the sketch with Julie Walters and Victoria Wood, where Julie Walters as Mrs. Overall comes in wearing a yellow leotard. Anyway, look it up. It's one of the funniest sketches I think I've ever seen. It's on a par with Two Soups. Anyway, I digress. There were long sleeves, there were bikini pants, there were swimsuits with cutouts, there was one strap things. They all looked pretty good. They really like Mia's with the sculpted sleeves. Obviously you're not going to be swimming in that. That's just for posing around the pool. I'm a swimmer, so not going to be very practical for me. But each to their own. I found a few patterns in the McCall's range, and there are of course other pattern companies that produce some. I think Cashmerette and who's the other one? Closet Call have got a couple of nice patterns. So this one, 7417, is a like a rash vest top or a long sleeve tankini top and big pants, but this comes in child sizes and adult sizes, so that's quite a good one. It is two separate patterns depending which size you go for, so that's age 3 to 8, or this one is small to extra large. So that was 7417. Right, 7964. I think this was quite similar to one of the costumes that we saw, one of the Tonys, and it was this shape, but he added a skirt to it, like a modesty skirt, which is quite a nice idea. But there's a couple of different necklines on that. There's one with a higher neckline as well. 7168 is a retro style bikini with big pants. We all like a big pant, but also some mini briefs as well. And 8329, there's one on here, the asymmetric number, which is quite like Lauren's. I quite liked hers. It was kind of like a ribbed lycra that she used, and then it had the asymmetric shoulder with a buckle, and also she did a belt as well. The belt was a bit wonky, but I thought the overall effect looked really, really good on hers. And then this was the last one, 8368, not really a swimming costume, but I thought the top was kind of a sporty style top that you could almost make into a swimming top. So there we go. So there we have it. So we had to say goodbye to Jilly. She had a bit of a mare on the rucksack and on the swimming costume. Binding, I don't know what she was using as the binding, because it was, I think it looked like it was even a different fabric. It didn't look like it was lycra. It looked like it was just like normal bias binding. So that's just not going to, it's not going to stretch the same as the lycra, so it's not going to sit the same either. But yeah, overall I think it was good. It was a tough week, I think, making a rucksack and a swimming costume. Pretty hard to do. Anyway, we've got some exciting news. So going forward, every Wednesday we're going to be doing a social. So from 7:30 in the evening until the start of Sewing Bee. Just come along. You can use one of our machines, or you can bring your own, but I need to know because of space. So you can book online on my website, haberdasherdo.co.uk, and then if you want to stay on afterwards, and we can watch the Sewing Bee together afterwards. So that starts on next Wednesday through until the final, though I think I might be on holiday for the final, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. So there we have it. That's the end of week 2, and goodbye, Jimmy. Bye.